Okay, well guys, sorry, I muted myself and I was talking to the birds, the trees, the crows and everyone to it. So to everyone, welcome to the world of RaceFace.Pro F4 round 3 here at Virginia International. Hopefully you can hear me now. I see Roland Ferreira saying why no sound. Thank you for jumping in there and pointing out. Looking at different screens, getting confused. My little brain couldn't contend with it. But as you saw, we've got quite a championship stacked up in our Pro and our Pro-Am. I'm sure you guys have read through that, but it's good to see some interesting things. But we do have a few names that have jumped to the world of the F4s, which is always great to see, including a couple of drivers from overseas. Not only we've got our UK, not only do we have our Ukrainians, our Italians, and our Americans jumping through. So look, Roland Ferreira, thank you very much. Good to have you here and watching. We've got Hunter Nyberg as well. So Johan Free with a 147.7. Peter Hubert currently lying in second place, followed by Werner Skuma and Timothy Stanton lying in fourth place at the moment with a 48.9. Trying to get a bit of drive underneath him. Steve Pepper, Vladislav Makalina. I'm getting that horribly wrong, which I will definitely go and say I'm getting it wrong. Out from the Ukraine. Gotta say, I've actually raced against him previously in Mazda MX-5s. Really quick driver, very defensive driver, and knows how to keep you behind. Also got a huge amount of pace to him as well, so don't count him out just yet. Steve Pepper, though, is leading just above him with Timothy Stanton in fourth place, which is always good to see. Doug Herber up into seventh place. Nico Killerman followed by Herman Lazarus down in ninth. Willem Buerta in 10th. Vasil Faramatz, Suresh Jabir also lying in 12th, 13th is James Pepper, the son to Steve Pepper, which is absolutely incredible stuff to see a family outing. Gotta say, love to see it. Then we have got Tamir Alverick, Luke Lucchesi, Vainan Kursop, Vladislav Mikino, so there's actually two. So we got Malakino Pro, we apologize if I do get that wrong, and then we got Vladislav Mikino, which I also do feel I'm getting slightly wrong, if not plenty wrong there. So do forgive me for the international names. Noah Hendricks out on circuit, Daniel Fernandez all the way out from Italy. Then new driver, we got Daniel Dots. He's out on circuit, also out from the Ukraine. And just to let you know, he is Groot. He says, I am Groot, Grunet. So taking a look at that, could be many things. He could be prophesizing, he could be going and talking about his day. We don't know. I don't speak in the world of Groot language, but it's good to see him out there. Good to see him. And then we got Zenith Brasler, who is also going and sitting in the pits. He's going to be starting for a pit lane this time around, not to get into the race. He's going to just focus on it. Remember, we have got 2 heats tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be setting us off, and each race is 20 minutes long with a 15-minute qualifying right before them, as we've got heat number 1 tonight currently running, which is absolutely incredible. And Tim the cameraman giving us all the views of Jan Ferrari out in first place. It is going to be a proper run for him. Luke Lucchesi out in second place. Luke Lucchesi hoping to take the charge with 147.843, only 0.1 behind Jan Ferrari. Peter Hubert trying to close down on him. Vladislav Mikino out into fourth place, really getting the drive and pulling away. Werner Skuma putting in some great lap times at the moment. Timothy Stanton, Steve Pepper also giving a great bit of charge from the Cool Camels, which is always good to see our UK contingent coming over, battling it out. We've got 5 international drivers out on the circuit, which is absolutely mind-blowing at this point to see it. And I can't wait to see how it is going to turn out as time goes on. So this is qualifying for Heat 1. As you see on screen, Heat 1 is just identifying for it. Tim will be taking this off the board in a short time. Then we've got Noah Hendricks down in 9th place at the moment, trying to get a little bit more drive to pull away from James Pepper. James Pepper trying to boost up his lap times at the moment, but out in front, times are getting closer and closer. Take a look at this. We've got Jan Ferrari only managing to get a slight gap. Then we've got Doe Herder, who's actually stepped up the pace. He got a pass James Pepper in terms of qualifying time, doing 1:49.4. And this circuit is very, very tricky, especially if you're in a tow. The aero wash can be an absolute nightmare to deal with. Bit of a change of gear, and guys, try and slow cars down. Remember, these cars, 1, do not have ABS. 2, do not have traction control. 3, need a whole lot of skill, which Doe Herber just ran out of. And that's why he's off into the weirds from our team try-on. Noah Hendricks out on circuit, he's in 9th place, keeping ahead. Timur Overic, our internationals, coming all the way over from Ukraine. They actually had a Mazda race this Friday that Timur is looking to try and take on the championship. Turned around and said, got the Mazda race, but been told by Arena and everyone from Ukraine going and saying that he needs to step up the pace here in our South African league out here at RaceFace.Pro for the F4 round 3 season 2. I'm saying it's season 2 for single seasons. Usually a class that not many people get behind, but this time around drivers have been enjoying it. Luke Lucchesi trying to improve his lap time, but Peter Joubert out of nowhere, 1:47.69, going and launching his way into first place ahead of Jan Fourie. That is going to give him a great run at the moment. And to everyone out there as well, for our new and returning viewers, I'd also like to give a massive thank you. And shout out to you guys that went and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon. We hit the milestone of 1,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen, which is absolutely incredible stuff. Beginning of the year, we set out that we were going to do it. Well, thanks to you guys, the fans, the drivers, the teams, the spectators, we hit this 1,000 subscriber, we hit that milestone, and now the push is to go more. So the push is to keep climbing, so share it away, get more people, hit that subscribe, hit that bell notification icon, give me a thumbs up. And I'm going to ask a question out to everyone in the chat. Vaynon, I know you're listening to the stream, so best let us know. Surishi, going and also listening. Roland Ferrer, Hansi Myberg, who are you thinking is going to be taking on our podium? Who's going to be first, second, and third for Pro, first, second, and third for Pro-Am? Because at the moment, we have got our Pros and Pro-Am still fighting really well with one another. And I actually want to show you something interesting. So we're going to show the classes off. Show the classes. But these are the current positions the drivers are sitting in overall, as we see Buerta going and getting a bit of a twist round, just narrowly getting missed out. So, Peter Joubert, out in first place. Gotta say, love the colours. Very old school Formula 1, early Formula 2, Formula 3 days. Good to see it out there. Is currently out in first place. Second is Jan Fourie. Well, never mind. Jan Fourie taking first place with a 1:47.569. Peter Joubert going and taking second place. Luke Lucchesi in third as they're flying their way through. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. But I do want to point out 7th place, Vladislav, going and taking the fight to our pros. And he's hoping to really give it a good go. Along with Timothy Stanton in 8th. Steve Pepper in 9th position. So our Pro-Ams are properly going and chasing down our pros, and that really does show the competitive level of all our drivers out here. Also, just want to put another shout out, and this is more of a personal one, to a fellow commentator that has been in the world of commentary for many years, and that is to Gary Fleming. So Gary Fleming from RaceFace.Pro. Happy birthday to Gary Fleming, host of Second Gear Productions. I do think I got that surname spelled wrong, but in any case, big shout out to him. Happy birthday. Hope you are enjoying it and can't wait to hear how your birthday's gone, because I know that you're doing the show. So if anyone knows Gary, take a screenshot of this, please. Send it on to him, just from us saying happy birthday. Would really appreciate it. Roland Ferrer saying Troy not racing, so Jan the Alien will take both wins. Wow, it's going to be a bit of a close one. Jan is running a 47.5 as quick as lap time. Peter Joubert, though, on 47.69. Digital Autosport of Ukraine saying how's it, which is really, really good to see out there.
In-game voice.
And you can hear a couple of drivers a little bit caught out, and Bennett Kursap going in saying how's it? So we do apologize. Do get those radio team comms that come in, but not fast enough to hit the button sometimes to close them off. So once again, apologies. Digital Autosport of Ukraine saying, how's it? And, well, that is going to just point out that we do have a Ukrainian out in 4th place at the moment. Mirovic going and taking the shot. So it's going to be a proper close race. Do want to point out, though, just seeing who's joined into the server, Yuri Umpi Swart. Now, that is a person that's fighting out for a championship. So he's going to be starting at the back of the field for Heat 1. So Roland Ferrer, you say Troy not racing, so Jan's going to get it. Well, I think that there is going to be a proper fight amongst everyone to go for those top positions. And as we know, it's motorsport. Anything can happen. And Peter Hubert at the moment trying to improve his lap time. A little bit slow off the button, out of the corner, trying to get a little bit more pace. Now it's going to be the climb up the hill. This is a very difficult part of the circuit. He is trying to improve his lap time. And we've got Willem Buerter trying to improve his lap time. Vladislav, James Pepper, Vano Kursop, and Vladislav Makino going and trying to get that little bit of a climb. But Hubert trying to swing the car in, get a little bit more pace underneath him, gets back onto the throttle early on, snaking his way down the F4, getting a little bit unsteady, under braking. Front bias a little bit too much, comes around the corner. That all looks nice and clean. He is 0.1 up on his lap time. Can he get the jump on Ferrari as he comes across the line? Will it be enough to take first position? Nope, unfortunately not. He will have to be content with second place. Willem Buerter trying to come around. He is chasing down one of the other cars. Backs off the throttle ever so slightly. And I think he is content with that 7th position. Vaynard Kursop, unfortunately, dropping wheel off the circuit. Not quite the same aerodynamics as the LMP2 car, but is trying incredibly hard. And I know that he has got his team watching on, cheering on, and being a part of the show. Vladislav going and trying to improve, but unfortunately, right at the end, time ran out. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, before we get underway for Heat 1 of our RaceFace F4 Heat Season 2 of our F4s. Let's take a look at the grid. So we have got Jan Ferrari, followed by Peter Hubert, Luc Lecchesi, Tamir Alvik, Werner Skuman, Nico Killerman, Willem Buerter, Vladislav Melikono, along with Timothy Stanton, Steve Pepper, Noah Hendricks, Herman Lazarus, Doug Herber, James Pepper, Daniel Fernandez, Vasil from Arts, Zenith Basler, putting himself into 17th position. So our American actually getting himself up there. Swayze Jabir, Werner Kursop, Daniel Donitz, who is new to the grid. We got Vladislav, and then starting at the back of the field is going to be Yuri Swart. So Yuri Swart looking to try and improve his run tonight. But as we take a look to the grid and also take a look at the class sets, this is going to be a race for the ages. Our front runners, though, are going to be close in time. We've got a bit of support going for Johan Ferrari. It's still open to everyone to share their support, who they think is going to charge their way to the front of the field. Standing start, though, 20-minute race. Can't get it wrong. It's all about getting the clutch just right in this 22-car field. 4, 5, and away we go. Bit of a slow start from everyone, but it does look like Vladislav actually getting a fantastic start, trying to launch his way past. He's trying to get past Daniela, so he's trying to take the fight. Ferrari a little bit of a slow start, having to go defensive as Peter Hubert trying to go around the outside. Luc Lecchesi trying to tuck underneath him. Tamir Alvik pushing as hard as he can. Werner Skuman also chasing down. A bit of a fall down the ladder for Steve Pepper. So a bit of an incident happened with Steve Pepper down there. Willem Buerter trying to get a little bit more of a charge and stay into the train, late on the brakes, going and closing up right onto the gearbox of Werner Skuman. And then we have got Nico Killerman, who's leading out the field ahead of for our Pro-Am, and Timothy Stanton trying to chase him down. Noah Hendricks ahead of James Pepper, so they make their way through every single car, trying to fight their way through. The only car that is in the pits currently is Steve Pepper, but out in front, Jan Ferrari giving the chase with Peter Hubert, trying to close down, looks to the inside, looks to the outside, swapping around, trying to figure out where there's a kink in the arm at this point. Not going to be an easy chase. Outbrakes himself, though. That is going to go and give Luc Lecchesi second place. Tamir taking third place. And now that has switched up the order a little bit. Werner Skuman trying to make his way through. Willem Buerta pushing as hard as he can, with Nico Killerman trying to get a little bit more chase. Young Free will be breathing a slight sigh of relief, but for how long is going to be the story. Willem Buerta now dealing with the first of our Pro-Ams. Nico Killerman right behind his gearbox, pushing as hard as he can. Turner taking a look in his rearview mirror, seeing Werner Skuman and Luc Lucchesi also trying to get a little bit more pace to pull away from Willem Buerta as they carve their way through. So Nico Killerman doing everything he can. Noah Hendricks going and pulling away. Daniel Fernandez does look like James Pepper has made quite a crucial mistake and has fallen down the order. So Daniel Fernandez getting a good run. Doe Herber gets past Timothy Stanton. Unfortunately loses it, comes back into the field and contact. So Timothy Stanton losing the tail end. Couple of cars getting caught into that. That is going to help Donitz move up. Vanon Kursup trying to get the driver. Suez Jabir gets a little bit more of a push. All-American Zenith Basler trying to move his way up through the order. Remember, it's his first time trying to deal with the South Africans. Vezel from Utz going and up, breaking him into turn one. Gets it all hooked up and gets past Vanon Kursup. So Vanon falls off the circuit. And now it is Ukraine versus America out in the back for our Pro-Am. Herman Lazarus is watching this. He's trying to figure out how to get past. He got past Vanon Kursup, but we do have a couple of cars that landed up with an issue. And take a look at Yuri Umpiswad. He landed up in a bit of early contact. So Yuri Umpiswad trying to pull himself back. Love the BMW covers, by the way. And we'll see how he recovers. We have got Vladislav Makino trying to move his way forward along with Timothy Stanton. They get themselves going. Peter Dubert, Vladislav Makino, Steve Pepper and James Pepper, unfortunately, still in the pits, getting towed back. A couple of drivers needing to get a bit of work done. But out in front, Luke Lucchesi closing down on Ferrari. Butsev going and saying, go to me. Busy going and cheering him on as he fights it out for third place, side by side with Werner Skuman. Werner trying to lean onto him a little bit, go late on the brakes. Verben just managing to have legs, but it does look like Tamir's going to try come back at him, closes up under braking, and that allows Willem Buerta to utilize Slipstream also to give it a bit of a fight. But out in front, Johan Ferrari and Luke Lucchesi still pushing one another, trying to break away from this little train that's happening behind them. Third place still wide open between Werner Skuman, Tomo Ovik and Willem Buerta. Willem trying to utilize that slipstream, does look to the outside. You can see very defensive on the inside line and trying to hold his ground. This is one of the cool camel cars comes out of the pits. And Willem trying to go late on the brakes, dives up on the inside of Werner Skuman, couldn't get it right. And Tamir going defending that inside line, able to brake a little bit later. Out in front, Luke Lucchesi dealing with Ferrari at the moment as they look to fight it out. Ferrari locking up Luke Lucchesi, doing everything he can. Tamir going side by side with Werner Skuman, and Willem Buerta trying to just figure out where can he get past. Runs out of room though behind Werner Skuman, has to back out of it. That is going to drop him out the train. But back down to our Pro-Am, Nico Killerman leading out the charge. Noah Hendricks up into second place for our Pro-Am, along with Daniel Fernandez all the way out from Italy. Got some beautiful colours of the car as well, who is fighting it out for our Pro-Am. So good to see a good mixture of drivers, different sets of skills, fighting it out around this very, very tight circuit of Virginia International Raceway for round 3 of our RaceFace F4. Season 2, which is absolutely incredible to say once again. Luke Lucchesi now into the toe of Jan Ferrari, trying to get himself a little bit long. Pulling, and hoping that maybe he can just go and fight it out. Rian van der Rest also going and sitting in from the grandstands, and Van der Rest actually he goes and races as well, so good to see Van der Rest out there. And congratulations to all your racing. It's always good to see your name out on the circuit. This time from the grandstands and supporting. Always fun to see. Jan Ferrari, Luke Lucchesi going and fighting it out. The amazing action still out on circuit for our pros. Very, very close. And Tamir also battling out with Werner Skuman. You can see Werner right against that rear wing, trying to push as hard as he can. So first, second, third, fourth are all in a monstrous battle for our pros as they make their way around the circuit. They will be starting to catch up to a couple of drivers that are leaving the pit, so it's going to change up the game as we keep an eye side by side battle. Luke Lucchesi trying to go for a pass, unfortunately just didn't have a drive. Tamir dealing with Werner Skuman at the moment. Werner definitely having a lot more drive around the final corner, but just can't get it nailed in as much as he would like as they fight their way through. A bit of a battle also ensuing as Doe Herber getting past Vanon Kursup and Zenith actually getting past. So Doe Herber, I think, has got a bit of a problem and losing out. Vezel from Arts trying to deal with Herman Lazarus. Herman goes a little bit later on the brakes and side by side lock up before Herman Lazarus And Vasil just getting past. I think he went and sucked in as much air as possible, tried making that car as thin as possible, and got past. Absolutely incredible running. Jan Ferree out in first place with Luke Lucchese going and putting up a bit of a chase. Paul Gerber in the grandstands cheering on his brother, saying, "Go, Doe, go! You need to keep it all together. You need to put the fight out here." So it's good to see family jumping in. So not only friends, teams, but also family members fighting and going and cheering on the drivers out ahead. But first and second of our pro and overall are in a massive, massive fight. James Pepper going and unfortunately losing the back of the car. And that will kill out his drive. Yuri Swart, though, has been on the climb. Keep an eye on him. He's in 17th position. And 7th in our pros. He's trying to make a little bit of a comeback situation at the moment. But as it stands, our drivers are trying to maneuver their way across. Jan Ferree keeping ahead of Luke Lucchese. I mean, that is literally 0.1 of a second. Ferree going and sliding the car out to try and keep Luke Lucchese at bay. Luke's going to try and drag race him into turn 1, though. Ferree's going to have the advantage, but will have to brake harder. It's a very, very hard hairpin to try and get it all together. Going to go a little bit later on the brakes. Tamir also going defensive as he's got Werner Skuman that took the inside line. So Ferree getting a hard pass versus Luke Lucchese. Luke will have to keep him to the toe. Werner Skuman finally getting past Tamir, but Tamir's going to try and go around the outside. And remember, Tamir is fighting in our full pro championship at the moment, so he's trying to gain some valuable points. Willem Buerter is watching this little fight, saying, "Please go fight some more. I want to catch you guys as quick as possible and take the fight." So absolutely incredible stuff to see these two go and slug it out. But out in front, the closest battle on circuit has to be our pros, as Ferree and Luke Lucchese, no holds bar at this moment, fighting it out. Jan Ferree is our 3-time TCR champion. He's looking to become the first pro TCR champion and trying to put an F4 championship underneath his belt because Troy Dolonchik is not in tonight. But Luke Lucchese trying to gain some valuable points in contact. Willem Buerter comes together with Ovelik and Tamir. Willem taking a bit of contact to one another, and you can see sparks flying off the side of that car. What on earth happened between them? We're going to see if we can try and take a look, because that was a monstrous impact. And Buerter tried bringing it back on circuit, but just couldn't get it all together. So Tamir locking up, just hooking wheels. Nothing could be done by both drivers, as just a lock up, and you're a passenger at that point. And unfortunately, Buerter and the two landing up with a bit of contact. Thankfully, mechanics have lots of repair work, lots of repair parts, so they can get that car back out on circuit. But this is only heat 1, ladies and gentlemen, of our races tonight. We do have a second heat for our drivers to make up a lot of time. They still have that second chance to score maximum points, and I'm sure that Tamir will be fighting it out along with Willem Buerter. The two of them had a proper run, but that has given to Werner Skuman up into 3rd place. Nico Killerman up into 4th position, first in class of our programs, with Noah Hendricks trying to close him down. But our closest battle on the circuit is these two, Luke Lucchese, Jan Ferree, not backing down from the fight. And this is going to be a proper little charge for likes of Ferree. He lost out the position to Luke Lucchese, and we'll have to try and figure out how to get a little bit more pace underneath him to go for the pass as they fight their way through. Interesting stuff as the drivers trying to get a little bit more pace underneath them, hoping that they will be able to get a little bit more of a run. Luke Lucchese trying to pull himself along, getting a little bit of a toe as he makes his way through. It does look like Ferree trying to pull himself along up the hill. It's going to be very cautious when you try and approach the top, because it does tighten up underneath you. Luke Lucchese is going to be on the outside. He will have to slow down a little bit more. He's going to try and carry it through. It's with the hairpin, locks up, switch round as Ferree dives up on the inside. What a pass and a half that was for first place. And I've got to say, proper little run from them as the two battle it out. Let's take a look from Jan Ferree and see what that looked like. The undercut, beautifully textbook, as Luke Lucchese goes and locks up, but managing to bring it back and still close enough to take a fight to them. So let's go through as it stands. Johan Ferry, Luke Lucchesi currently going and fighting our first and second. Werner Skuman in third. Nico Kellerman is in fourth, first in our Pro-Ams. So for our pros, Johan Ferry, Luke Lucchesi, Werner Skuman. Fourth of our pros is Herman Lazarus. He's down 11th position. Along with Yuri Piswat. Remember, he started at the back of the field. He's up 3 positions despite the earlier contact. Peter Hubert, Willem Buerta is in 7th. 8th is Tamir Ovik on the return. And shout out to him, Digital Autosports of Ukraine, saying, we are with you. Get the power down. You've got this. So when you've got a whole you've got a whole country supporting the drivers, it's honestly great to see that, especially in the comments as well. Nico Kilman is fighting it out. He is in a bit of a chase with Noah Hendricks, and this is going to be in fourth position of our Pro-Ams. Nico Kilman, though, losing out a little bit of drive and did spin around. I think that's how we have got Noah Hendricks to come a little bit closer. He is starting to open up a little bit more of a gap between them. Daniel Fernandez, I see, landed up in a crash, our Italian, not having an easy run. Rob van der Heever saying, how's it from the grandstands? Good to see you out there. So Rob, good to see you. It's great to have a chat to a couple of drivers. So battle fighting out not only in our pros but our Pro-Ams. Back out to the front, Johan Ferry, Luke Lucchesi, they are still going to chase it down. Ferry looking to try and guard the inside a little bit, but hasn't fully committed to it. Is going to try and walk Luke Lucchesi out around the outside. It is a very wide circuit. Luke Lucchesi was faster on that last lap, and you can see it tries to go for an undercut, but Ferry closing that off very, very quickly, not allowing it to happen. Nico Kilman starting to open up the gap, but I do want to point out our American. We have got Zenith Brasler versing Vasil Famats, and he is getting chased down by Herman Lazarus. So we have got Ukrainian, American, and South African all in a train, and trust me, it is definitely not a barroom joke. These drivers are fighting it out as Zenith goes and catching it a little bit on the dirt all the way from Ohio, not quite in Virginia, and losing it to the cheapercars.co.za. Herman Lazarus, who's able to get a little bit more drive out of the corner and saying, listen, I'm going to go after Vasil just ahead of us, give me a chance. And Zenith going and out, breaking him into the corner, saying, not a chance, my friend. I want to have a shot at this. This is not going to happen on my watch, and considering we are fighting it out for position, you might be in pro, I'm in Pro-Am, but we are going to race as there's contact. Herman Lazarus just out braking himself into the back of Zenith. That is going to drop him down the order. So back up to our front battle. Johan Ferry, Luke Lucchesi are still keeping it one another, having a monstrous fight. As you can see, Luke Lucchesi trying to go around the outside. He gets immediately closed off, lock up on the brakes, and Ferry doing exactly what Luke Lucchesi did, and having his brakes lock up. Luke Lucchesi saying, thank you very much, been on that side before, and going to keep up the charge. So absolutely tremendous stuff, as what's it going saying, great fight for first, absolutely correct with that, but also great fight for a first in our Pro-Ams. We've got to point that out, as Noah Hendricks getting ahead of Nico Kilman. Noah Hendricks, who has been an average in prototype racing in iRacing, now going and battling it out against Nico Kilman, who's also been on that hard charge, trying to climb up the runs. A little bit further back, though, do want to point out to drivers in 17th and 16th, Vladislav and James Pepper, also keeping a great battle. This is Ukrainian versus UK. So also great to see a lot of international contingents. But why I'm talking about that, they are in their own little fight. First and second place to the pros, and overalls are now going to be closing up on them. Rules state you have 3 corners to move out the way. You can just, give them a bit of room. Don't make it difficult. But the moment they do that, they've got Tamir chasing them down. Tamir's a lap down, but will be trying to keep up the climb. So absolutely proper fun from them. I think it's going to be one of these close little battles that the drivers are going to have to keep a very close eye on. And considering they have got the pride of the nations behind them, UK, Ukraine, America, Italy, everyone wants to go and make things proud, including our South Africans putting on a bit of a show at the moment. They are seeing that Turbio is chasing them in the mirrors. They do know that he was fighting it out early on, but is not a threat at the moment. But Johan Ferry looking to try capitalize around the outside, gets late on the brakes. Luke Lucchesi, though, tries to come back at him, both going and slightly locking up their brakes. Ferry a little bit more than he wanted to, and that is going to drop Luke Lucchesi down. But Luke has lost that little bit of drive, needs to come back at him and try and give a bit of a chase. I do want to point out, Tumia is down the order. He is in 18th position with that earlier damage, hanging on to the back. So really going and trying to fight his way through. He may become a factor in this little battle. If he doesn't go and back it out and rather focus on his charge, it's going to be a last run to it. But considering we now on that last lap, it is all or nothing for Luke Lucchese, Johan Free, Werner Skuman, who's currently lying in third. Noah Hendricks is lying in fourth. But first in our programs with Nico Kilman trying to chase him down, that is not going to be his easy thing. A bit of a spinner, contact. Luke Lucchese getting that contact. That drops him down. So James Pepper going and losing the tail end has changed the entire landscape. Luke Lucchese with the contact. Free narrowly getting past. And he's able to keep going. But what a change up. Vladislav now going and chasing down. But he's got a problem as Tamira is onto the back of him. So the two Ukrainians are fighting for position. But what did we just see? We talked about backmarkers influencing a race. Well, there it is. And Free's not going to argue with that one. He's going to try and get that chase. Nico Kilman, though, and Noah Hendricks, unbeknownst to them, are fighting currently for third overall. Noah Hendricks just keeping ahead of Nico Kilman. Swace Jabir is now part of that tow. The Oreo machine now going and pushing Kilman out a little bit wide. He's able to get past. Nico Kilman's going to try come back at Swace up on the inside. It is the final lap. They are fighting for first and second of position. Noah Hendricks is going to start opening up the gap. But I do think he has done enough to try and pull away. But out in first, who will be taking across the line, does have a battle behind him, and Free is just keeping a close eye on this because he's got Vladislav and Tamir right on the back of him. But well done to Johan Free taking the checkered flag for the pros, and what a race for him. Vladislav coming ahead of Tamir. That was the battle behind them. But Noah Hendricks making his way down the hill. Swace Jabir and Nico Kilman are still giving it they all. Swace Jabir is now right onto the back of Noah Hendricks. This is a fight for first place. Who's going to have the drive at the end? Does look like Noah Hendricks has just done enough. Swace goes a little bit on the dirt. That is going to allow Nico Kilman to try and catch up, but not quick enough. Oh boy. Hopefully you guys are just as out of breath as I was, because that was a race by all our drivers. Doug Herbert coming across the line. Veynon Kursop ahead of Vasil Framatz, who's really clawed his way up. He climbed 8 positions from the start. Veynon Kursop up 12 positions. Swace Jabir up 14 positions in that last run. Herman Lazarus ahead of Yuri Umpiswat, climbing 12 positions. Timothy Stanton doing everything he can. He's trying to push a little bit harder. He's got Vladislav trying to close down on him. Drops a wheel off on the dirt, just losing the drive. We'll have to give it to Timothy Stanton. Yubert, also fantastic drive on his part. Willem Buerta going to be coming across the line, a little bit gutted with his race, but he's going to finish it no matter what. And I do want to take my hat off to drivers that, despite the damage, if you don't have a meatball and you're going to fight it to the end. So Willem Buerta of RDSA Esports, not only I love the South African flag with the World Cup written on the side, I take my hat off for finishing with damage. You drove it to the line instead of throwing the towel in. Great to see it out there. What a race, ladies and gentlemen. What a race. This is Heat 1, might I point. We do have a second heat coming up. But let's take a look at our race results. Johan Free taking the win. Werner Skuman out in second place for our pros. Herman Lazarus in third. Yuri Swart in fourth. Peter Yubert in fifth. Luke Lucchese, Willem Buerta, and Timur Ovik in eighth position. Will be walking home with a few points. As you can see, they will be taking 50 points from this race. That will be helping out their championship. This is unofficial, so bear that in mind. We'll have to see with after the evening. So it's going to be a proper little run for the drivers. So let's see how this is going to work out. Moving on to our Pro-Ams. And this was a little bit more of a bigger story because of the amount of drivers. Noah Hendricks just getting ahead of Swace Jabir, Nico Kilman, Doug Herbert, Veynon Kursop, Vasil Framatz, Timothy Stanton, Vladislav Medico, Nikolai. along with Vladislav Micah Inco. I do apologize if I'm getting that wrong, and I do think that the digital spirits of Ukraine will correct me on pronouncing those names. I actually like to get how it's said from the drivers. Proper little fight with them. Steve Pepper, James Pepper in 10th, 11th, Danielo Donitz in 12th, 13th is Daniel Fernandez, 14th is Zenith Beza, rounding out our field for heat 1 of round 3. Now we do have a final heat that can change up the game. Remember, they've maximized points now. We now run the clock back, as we can say. Moving on to heat 2, it is going to be a 15-minute qualifying and a 20-minute race. So there is a chance for drivers to make it up, make it or break it. We did see Luke Lucchesi have unfortunate contact with James Pepper. James Pepper made his way through. Unfortunately, the tail snapping out underneath him, spun him around, facing the wrong way in the direction. Everyone close by, Luke Lucchesi having a little bit of contact from that. So I think he is going to be getting the bit between his teeth at the moment and put it on the charge. Remember, we do have a couple of points on the line for our championships. So looking at our Pro-Am standings, this is without including the current race. Timothy Stanton, Doug Herber, Noah Hendricks, Lo Rangley, Daniel Fernandez, Vezel Vermaat, and Vladislav Mirko are currently leading out the charge for our Pro-Am. That is going to change with the new drivers and also points coming in. Remember, 50 points if you come in first place, and it goes down from there. So anything is open. Moving on to our pros, we do have Luke Lucchesi, who's leading out the championship. Had a rough race this time round, lost that second place due to a racing incident. Will be looking to fight back and try and score some points. Jan Ferry, though, walking away with a few points, that is going to move him up the championship order from second to first, and he needs to keep that in mind. Willem Buerta as well, trying to make his way through. He landed up with a damage, still crossed the line. Take my hat off to him on that, in 6th place in class. So, going to be a proper little run. Moving on to Herman Lazarus in 4th, Tamir Alvik, Troy Donchik, Yuri Swart, Dino Sturman, Chase Herald, Jason Kutsi, Leonard Ratzkin, and Artie Nacht, along with David Pastov. I do want to ask if that Alana is actually the same Alana from that's chairman of Autosports Ukraine. So, Autosports Ukraine, is that the same chairman? Out of curiosity. We will be starting up with our next server shortly, so don't worry about that. Plenty of racing to come. Moving on to the orders that's happening around. Once again, trying to get those cameras right. It's going to be a proper little race, and taking a look to everyone chatting in the box. We got bits of saying this track is madness. Roland Ferrer saying proper fight till the last. Sad for the back markers being in the way. They were also in a race. Can't take that away from them. And that is one thing about motorsport that gets a little bit tricky. Anything can happen and can cost you a bit of a win. So, yeah, they were in their own race. They were in their own fight. Can't take that away from them. Unfortunately, that rear snapping out underneath did cost Luke Lucchesi that second place. But he has an opportunity to fight it back. Roland Ferrer saying, Stephen, when is legendary Yanneman Price back in the box with me? Well, Yanneman is taking a bit of leave of absence. He is concentrating on his racing at the moment, fighting out in international championships, and also we got a Brit Car 24 that both Yanneman Price and myself will be participating, along with Devin Ellis will be joining us for that time, being South African representative in that little race for the Motorsport UK Brit Car 24, which is coming up in 2 weeks' time. So he's putting a bit of focus in that, recovering after the GTP race for the Make-A-Wish Foundation that we had this weekend that finished Monday, 2 o'clock in the morning. So I think he's a little bit tired of racing, and we've got plenty more racing coming this weekend. So he's a little bit taking a leave of absence, but I will tell you, he's currently in my ear. You guys can't hear him. Just going and wishing everyone well. So good to see that he's just going and talking. Really, really good. Couple of people out in the Discord saying that the racing was fantastic out there. Lots of close action. Good to see the guys taking a bit of a mix. Some unfortunate contacts did make the racing a little bit more changed up. But yeah, it's gonna be a little bit of a run. I think it's gonna be an interesting race. Steve Pepper saying they will be out of Heat 2, unfortunately, and repair to James' car needing a bit of work, and they're going to sit with the mechanics to try and get that up and going. So good to see drivers going and working a bit hard there. Good, sad to see that the Peppers will be out of this race. The Cool Camels not making it to the grid. It's always lovely to see Steve Pepper and James Pepper. But this time around, they're going to be watching from the grandstands. As it does look like we have got our second heat readying up, and we will have our drivers going to the circuit shortly for their Heat 2 right here at RaceFace.Pro. It's going to be a proper little run for our drivers. Lots of points to make up this evening to improve the championships. If you had a bad first race, you have an opportunity come the second race to move forward and get better. So that being said, let's see how our drivers are going to prep for this one. Remember, they cannot do any changes to these cars other than change the brake bias, because it is a fixed setup race around VIR, which is a free circuit for everyone. Gotta say, lovely little circuit, and has had many interesting races. Like the track has hosted the Saka Trans Am and IMSA endurance races, which was won by Porsche teammates Peter Craig and Hurley Haywood, going and putting out a great bit of time out there, and also just giving that circuit a little bit more of a climb. It's also housed lots of endurance racing, not only for modern cars, but also for our classic cars, also Saka cars. For anyone that isn't sure what a Saka car is, you can actually look up. It's a SACCA car. We do have one in the iRacing service, which is the Ford Saka. Honestly, lovely little car, basically a 2-litre or a 1600 Ford sports car. It's closer to, if you're in South Africa, you would know a Sports 2000 or part of the Voter Series that was originally here. So, that being said, we're moving on to our Heat 2, where it's going to be a bit interesting. Werner Skuman, Herman Lazarus, Willem Buerta, Timothy Stanton, Vladislav Michael Hanako, I think I got that one right. Suez Jabir, Peter Jabir, Jan Ferry, Jurien Pissoir, Tamir Aldrich is looking to redeem after the last race. Vasil Vermaat, Daniel Fernandez back out on circuit. Vladislav Nico Kilman, Do Herber, Troy Dolenchik has made it to the grid. So that was one we brought up a little bit earlier of Jan Ferry, who had the drive in Heat 1, now looks to try and make it come Heat 2. Don't see him in the servers yet. Willem Buerta is in the server. But Troy Dolenchik, a driver that got brought up of, is he going to be out there? Well, I can confirm he is in the system. And Jan Ferry is well aware that he is now going to be out for Heat 2. So Willem Buerta going and putting in a time for practice. Herman Lazarus, Werner Skuman. So this is going to be interesting, as the drivers will need to push themselves a little bit harder this time around. And let's see how it moves forward. So just getting a bit of information from Tim the cameraman on what can we expect, on what's going to happen. So, we do know that our cool camels are unfortunately out of this race, getting some work done on James Pepper's car. But let's see how it's going to make its way through. Unfortunately, that little bit of a snap from the rear did go and land up in a bit of an accident. So we'll be trying to move that forward. A couple of cars heading out. Vlasov first out of the pits. Vasil from right, Tamir Alvik, Willem Buerta, Peter Joubert, Suresh Joubert, Timothy Stanton, Willem Buerta. And it's going to be a proper little run. Herman Lazarus also looking to try and take the charge. And there we go. Troy Dolanchik of Sanjan Motorsport now heading out into the circuit. Sujin, I do apologize, Sujin. Current Formula 1600 champion looking to take the fight. Roland Ferrer saying now with Troy we'll have a proper 3-car fight. I think we're going to have a 4 to 5 car fight looking at what happened in Heat 1. How close each of the drivers were for Pro, and even taking a look at our Pro-Am drivers still putting in that monstrous fight. Do want to say from our side once again, happy birthday to Gary Fleming for this evening. It is his birthday, so shout out out in the comments a happy birthday to Gary Fleming on the Second Year Productions from RaceFace. It's good to have him out, the very old-fashioned commentator that has been around since Nozak went down and rots away, that is for certain, but a household voice for Cape Town here in South Africa, and also for the world of oval racing. So shout out to him. But now we are on Heat 2 qualifying. Werner Skuman, Luke Lucchesi, Troy Dolanchik looking to take the fight. Cannot count out. Yuri Umpiswat now has an opportunity to put in a lap time. Remember, Heat 1, he did not put in a lap time. Vlasov Mikino putting himself into first and trying to make his way through. So Tim the cameraman is now showing us the exact order as it stands for grid as it goes out. Troy Dolanchik already putting in that 151.6, putting himself in first place. Vlasov putting himself in second place as he looks to try and take up the charge as well. Tamir Alvik, do not take away from Tamir, was a viable threat from Ukraine. Did put the pressure on Luke Lucchesi. Unfortunately, that car just didn't work out for him, and he was battling out with Willem Buerta as well. So do not count them out of the fight just yet. They are looking to push themselves a bit harder. Werner Skuman of Gashol's trying to push himself forward. Peter Joubert also trying to improve his run. Remember, it was part of an earlier contact that did drop him down the order. Vlasov Mikino, Nico Kilman currently in 8th position, 9th to Suresh Joubert. Zenith Basler all the way out from Ohio in America, locking up, trying to get used to the circuit. Not quite Ohio, it is Virginia, and I know that Ohio going and having that little bit of a fighting time. We do know that people get very passionate of which state's the best. I'd actually like to point out, we're in South Africa. Let's go and let's do that. Let's get it out there. Which state, which little part is the best? Would it be the Cape? Would it be the Eastern Cape? Would it be the North Cape? Would it be Gauteng? I want to hear from you guys as we also spur this little camaraderie in the country for South Africa, and overseas as well can also more than welcome go and check out what's your favorite place to go to, or who you think is the best in the country, in your respective countries, or even in South Africa. More than welcome. Peter Joubert putting in the fastest lap time. Tamira putting in second place. Troy Dolanchik down into third place, trying to improve. Remember, now he's done a 148.62, which is tied up times to Tamir. I mean, take a look at that. 0.008 between the two of them. We have seen this season a solid time where drivers have matched their fastest lap times. Matched to the thousandths, the tenths. The numbers were all the same, which we cannot take away. Drivers are pushing. Willem Buerta in 6th position. Timothy Stanton up in 7th position. Werner Skuman in 8th. Along with Vladislav Nikito losing out that position to Zenith Beza. So the American putting himself between the two Ukrainians. Nico Killerman going and moving himself forward. Sway Chabert, Doug Herber down in 14th. 15th, Herman Lazarus. Daniel Donat going and riding in 16th position. 17th is Luke Lucchesi, not getting in that lap time he wanted, but does put it in right at the end. Puts himself to a 1:48.1, and that's one way to call the commentator a liar, saying that you're going slow. You go and put a better lap time in right as he's talking about. Thanks, Luke. Appreciate that. So Vasil might still need to put in a time. Daniel Fernandez still needs to put in a time. All the way out from Italy, putting on a great charge at this amount. Van der Kursap, Noor Hendricks still in the pits. They're going to wait this one out and just let the guys circle to try and fight their way through. So, couple of cars needing to do pit stops. That is going to change the game a little bit this time around. Peter Dubé putting himself into first place at 47.8 this time around, getting ahead of Luke Lucchesi, Jan Ferrari, and Willem Buerta. Troy Domenchik, though, not getting that time. And I do think he hasn't had as much practice around Virginia International Raceway as he would like. So he's still just trying to feel the car out. And I know he was doing practice for the Masters Series. So he was trying to get some laps in there, and he was in a GT car, if I remember correctly. So two different machineries jumping from an F4 and a GT spec car. So Roland Ferreira looking forward to this fight. Lotsev going in agreeing and saying, yep, this is going to be a fight. Autosport of Ukraine saying, game on, drivers are out, drivers are motivated. Good to see that out there. Rob van der Hever going and keeping an eye. Rian van der Rest saying this is going to be something to keep an eye out for as well. So getting lots of personal messages coming through, even from the Cool Camels team that's saying, we're not in this race, but we are keeping an eye on it. We are keeping an eye on the drivers and seeing how this is all going to shake out, because the race is rather close. So even with the incidents that have happened, hats off to the Cool Camels team, the Pepper family going and keeping an eye on this. So lots and lots of eyes on the prize for this. Multiple countries looking at the drivers saying, right, we now need to put the charge on. And I do want to point out 0.008 behind Luke Lucchesi. Peter Hubert coming across the line. Can he better his last lap time? Willem Buerta couldn't better his last lap time, as he will remain in 4th place. Peter Hubert not getting a faster lap time. Luke Lucchesi trying to get a little bit more of a run, but Troy Dolenchek puts himself with a 47.808, only 0.35. Ahead of Peter Hubert. Luke Lucchesi down in 3rd is going to be battling it out. Jan Ferrari currently in 4th. Remember, he did take the win, and his lap times are very, very close. Willem Buerta, though, doing everything he can, gets past one of the Ukrainian cars, and now is going to be providing a bit of a tow at that point. So good to see that a bit of teamwork's coming on. Bit of understanding between the drivers saying, look, let's focus on the charge here. And that is Tamir, who knows has got the pace, so the tow will help him out. Yuri Umpi-Swart puts himself into 3rd place. Jan Ferrari putting himself into 4th. Luke Lucchesi down into 5th. And this is going to change the ball game. First of our Pro-Am, so is Timothy Stanton. Don't want to take that away. In the Roland Manfolds Racing Machine, Red Bull Honda Tribute colours, which we saw raced at Suzuka when there was that part ways between Red Bull and Honda, before Honda's engines returning back to the world of Formula 1. A very quick goodbye, Honda. Appreciate it. It's always good to see. Nico Killerman keeping ahead of Vladislav in times. They also keep an eye on Basler, currently 4th in class, 12th overall. Herman Lazarus, who is currently lying 9th in our pros, lying in 13th, so way down the order, not where he wants to be as a pro driver, dealing with Doug Herber, who is utilizing a little bit of a tow, and I think that is Vladislav right up against that rear spoiler, pushing as hard as he can to try and get all the tow, if not more at that point. I think if he could attach a rope and shorten it down, I think he used the shoelace of his shoes to tie it to the rear wing to ensure that he kept so close to try and get a better lap time out of that one. So a couple of drivers really, really putting in that extra bit of work hoping to claw their way through to victory this evening right here at RaceFace.Pro Heat 2. And this will be our final heat of the evening for our RaceFace.Pro Round 3 Season 2 here at Virginia International. And I've got to say, it's going to be a proper little run. Keep an eye on Sueso. He's down in 8th position. Did make a huge climb. Noah Hendricks putting in a time. Not a very quick one, but a time indeed. Puts himself on the board ahead of Daniel Fernandez at this point. Puts himself into 19th position. Daniel Fernandez, though, is going to look to try and come across the line. Got a bit more pace this time. So I do think he will jump up through the order. Bernard Kersop, though, will be missing out on this one. Let's see if Daniel got enough pace underneath him. He's trying to get a lap in still, so may have dropped a wheel on the dirt. Yuri Smart, though, putting himself into first place, a 47.77 ahead of Troy Dolenchik, who outbreaks himself, doing a 47.79. Gotta get this right. I mean, it's this is going to be a proper run. Roland Ferreira saying this is not a TCR car, so you can say right under his gearbox. I think it's, if we're talking about how close up the gearbox, I would say he's hooked onto the first gear. He's maybe onto second, or even better, I think he's underneath the selector at that point. He's tied it to the rear, onto the back of the selector to ensure that he's just close enough. And yeah, can say right up the gearbox, but it is technically under the wing because the rain light does protrude further than the gearbox. Don't know why that rain light is so long. I know the gearbox is one incredibly long thing in these F4 cars, but the rain light is just absurdly obnoxious. It's almost like a Pinocchio nose. For anyone that knows Pinocchio, it reminds me of that. It's just so far stretched out. That does make a little bit of a difference. But with iRacing bringing rain, as they in quotation, imminent, that will be going into the Fords, the Formula 1600, or the Formula Fords as they know, and also into the Ferraris, and I think the Toyota GR86s, but there has been Mazda. I think there has been rides of Mazda around Silverstone, and come on, work with me. Formula B. So I do think we will be having those cars also racing in the rain. Can't wait for the F4s though, and with FIA partnering up with iRacing for like the F4s, I can expect this series to be one of the growth series and start getting bigger and bigger. I know the FIA is also there was a WEC partner with FIA. They changed their logo with that underneath it. So who knows? Maybe the WEC returning to iRacing. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Please, I'm asking nicely. Would be nice. There's a Lamborghini that's coming. There's a Ferrari. Yeah, those type of cars would be rather nice to have in the prototype in the GTPs. But mainly, my personal favourite that may come out will be obviously the Chev GT3. That is the remake, well, not remake, it would be the newer version of the CR8 that raced in the GTE. That is unfortunately faded away into oblivion. Enough with me prattling on about bits and pieces. Troy Dolenchik, though, getting in our shape, did put in the fastest lap time of 47.71 ahead of Yuri Umpi-Swart. Peter Yabert in third place, Jan Ferrari in fourth, Luke Lucchesi in fifth. Sixth position is Willem Buerta. Tamir Alvik down in seventh position. Werner Skuman in eighth. Timothy Stanton in ninth. Suresh Jabeur followed by Dirk Weber. Vladislav Mikhail Inikov. Mikhail Inikov. I think that's how you say it. I do apologize if I'm getting this wrong. Yeah, so I will try and get that sorted out. A couple of guys saying that Mike's a little bit low. Tyler Humphrey is actually jumping in and saying Mike's a little bit low, so hopefully that's a little bit better. You can hear my voice. I think the engines sounded better than my voice personally, because I mean these Formula 4s are absolutely beautiful to listen to. And also knowing that we've got a couple of South Africans racing in it. Says Noah Hendricks, where on earth are you going, my friend? Are you happen to be sponsored by the likes of Oddendorf Machinery with a lawnmower? Because you definitely cut that corner and the grass going through it, so losing out that time right at the end. So Tyler Humphreys, all the way out from Angry Racing, does go and race under the Angry Racing name in the Assetto Corsa Competizione out in the Porsche, and he's also in the grandstands. Good to see that we have got a mix of drivers all supporting, not only from our Assetto Corsa Competizione, but also our iRacing side, our Formula 1 side, even our Rally, WEC, are going and putting in a bit of a howser, and all our drivers. Tori Donchik leading out the charge. Yurian Piswat, though, hoping to go and better the lap time. This will be the last time he crosses the line for qualifying. Will it be enough under the tank? Just has to get 0.062 of a second quicker. Does so. 47.692 ahead of Troy Dolanchik. Peter Yube trying to also improve his lap time. Troy Dolanchik trying to get a little bit more pace underneath him. Willem Buerta and Luke Lucchese going and fighting it out. They're trying to get a little bit more pace underneath them and will be pushing harder and harder at this point as they fight their way through. Willem Buerta trying to get a little bit more pace. Luke Lucchese currently lying in 6th position. He's ahead of Tamir Alvik, which is going to be a positive at this point. Is slowing down, so he's going to be giving up and surrendering on that race. That bit of a qualifying lap. Swayze comes across the line with a 59.5, and we do have Daniel Fernandez. Got to say, love the colors. That M256 team. All the way out from Italy, putting himself into 16th. Willem Buerta, though, still trying to get a time in. He can improve to get ahead of Johan Ferrari. Giving a little bit more of a chase, tries to go a little bit quicker. Keeping his foot right in it. And slowing up. That, I think he realized didn't quite have the pace for him to do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for the final time tonight, we will be going to the grid. And I want to hear you guys out in the comments. Who are you supporting? Put some fire, put some strong arms. Go and shout it out to the world, because the world is watching right now. We have got drivers that have been competing from across the world. We have got Ukraine, America, Italy. Earlier, we had UK in with us as well. And we have got our South Africans looking to take the charge tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Tyler Humphreys, Roland Ferreira, Butsev, Digital Autosports of Ukraine, Venon Kursop, because I know you're watching, Paul Gerber, Ruben van der Race, go and put it in. Tyler Humphreys saying, P2 Troy, let's go. Boom! So good to see Sergev going and putting the excitement there. Good to see. I'm ramped up for this. This is going to be a fright, ladies and gentlemen, because we got Yuri Swart out in first place, Troy Dolanchik in second, Peter Hubert, Johan Ferrari, Willem Buerta, Luke Lucchese, Timur Alvik, Werner Skuman, Vladislav going and putting himself, that's Vladislav Mikhailnikov, along with Werner Skuman, who's, behind Timur Alvik. Then we've got Vladislav Mikhailnikov along with Timothy Stanton, Swayze, Doe Herber. Moving down the order, we have got Nico Kilman, Noah Hendricks, Herman Lazarus, Daniel Fernandez, Zenith Bezler, Vladislav Mikhailnikov, along with Basil Framat, Daniel Donitz, and Venon Kursop, rounding out the field this evening, ladies and gentlemen. 21 cars for Heat 2, and this is our final heat of the night as we get ready to go racing right here for the final time at Virginia International Raceway. And I'm going to say, for the final time of 2023, right here at RaceFace, this will be the last race at Virginia International Raceway for 2023. So it's all cards on the table. It is an all-out charge to stamp your name in history. So, ladies and gentlemen, out in the stands, in the pits, and in those cars, make some noise to the drivers, rev them up. You've got some fuel to burn off, so why not make a noise and go and shout it out? This is gonna be it. Butsev going and saying, for a better place, we just need a clean race. For a better place, I'm gonna go and point this out to you. For a better race, you've got to climb. There's a climb for all our drivers right now. There is a fight. there is a proper fight on hands, and championship points are desperately needed by the drivers. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, and we got a jump start from Willem Buerta.
Green.
As you go green, Buerta did move off the line. That is going to compromise him as they jump off the line. Yuri Impiswat defending as Troy Dolanchik trying to go around the outside. Peter Hubert trying to come back at him. Hubert breaks and allows Jan Farid to try and go around 3 wide as Willem Buerta does try and get past. He's got Jan Farid getting past him. Luke Lucchesi dealing with Tamir Olveric around the outside, trying to come back at him, along with Werner Skuman and Vladislav Mika going and fighting out. But Troy Dolanchik going very defensive. Yuri Impiswat right up his gearbox, and I think this is going to be a proper fight. Simcadia saying Troy P1 drop a gear and disappear. Well, that ain't going to happen. Not by any means of the word, because Yuri Impiswat, Peter Hubert, Humphrey, all of them are going to take the fight. Troy Dolanchik has got a target on his back. He is the current champion for our F4s, and he has got everything to lose and plenty to gain at this point. If Willem Buerta comes into contact with Free, that is going to pass it to Tamir and Luke Lucchesi as they come past. It did look like, unfortunately, getting caught out in the braking had the two come to blows, and oh man, that is not going the way that Buerta wanted. Troy Dolanchik, though, starting to check out. Yuri Impiswat having to battle it out, forcing Peter Hubert around the outside, is going to go a little bit late under braking. Luke Lucchesi trying to come back at it, along with Tamir, who's pushing and pulling Werner a little bit closer this time around. Peter trying to go around the inside through the hairpin, couldn't get it all sorted. Yuri Impiswat, though, goes out and runs a little bit wide, compromises his drive. That allows Luke Lucchesi and Tamir to get into this fight. Luke Lucchesi right up the gearbox, pushing as hard as he can to try and chase him down. And Troy Dolanchik, who was originally trying to open that gap, is starting to lose it at this point as he's watching the fight to him. Luke Lucchesi right up against Peter Hubert. This is going to be a close battle into the hairpin. Jan Free and Buerta both making their way into the pits. They need to get some work done onto them. A little bit further down, though, we do have Noah Hendricks trying to go after Swayze Jabir as Luke Lucchesi goes and slides out. That is going to allow Tamir an opportunity to come back at him. Tries to go around the outside, couldn't make it stick this time around. Will get right up underneath the gearbox and pull himself away up through the hill. This is a little bit of a flat out section as Peter goes and loses the rear. Luke Lucchesi says thank you very much. He's going to try and open up a little bit of a gap, and Tamir doing everything he can, and it does look like Fermit's going and also landing up, and Danilo Donitz needing a bit of repair work as well. But in the background, we do see a bit of a battle. Noah Hendricks going and fighting it out. So he's trying to push himself that a little bit harder as they claw their way through. He's going after Timothy Stanton just ahead of him, who's lying third in Pro-Am. Swayze Jabir just ahead of him. And Vladislav Mikino leading out our Pro-Ams, locking it up though. Oh, commentators curse, and nearly into the back of his teammate. And I think that is Tamir. Yes, that is Tamir, who's now down in 5th place, trying to get it all together, and now has compromised the drive of his teammate. That allows Swayze Jabir to get onto the back of him. And now Swayze trying to go around the outside. This is a fighting battle. Vladislav, though, is in Pro-Am. He's going to try to go up on the inside. Tamir, who is in Pro, will have to try and do everything he can. Vladislav locks up. He compromises Tamir's drive, and that is also going to play into the likes of Swayze Jabir. So, Troy Dolanchik. Well, we got lots to talk about how he's checking out. Tyler Humphrey saying Dolanchik Airlines taking off. Well, I think it's slightly delayed because Yuri Impiswat is definitely on the back of his gearbox and ran a faster lap time. That lap over 1:47.62. Troy Dolanchik a 1:48 dead. So Yuri Impiswat is saying, listen, Troy, we got points. You're going to lose them. I'm coming after you as much as possible, and will be running up the gearbox, trying to get a little bit more of a pace. But for first in our Pro-Am, Vladislav trying to get away from Swayze Jabir. Vladislav going out a little bit wide. That is compromising his drive. Swayze trying to lock up horns. He is in 2nd place. Does look to the inside line. Timothy Stanton right on the back of him. Noah Hendricks also giving everything he can as 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th all fighting it out for our Pro-Ams. So for our pros, we've got to fight for first and second, which is Troy Dolanchik and Yuri Swart. But our Pro-Ams are taking the fight to one another. It does look like Young Free having an abysmal race this time round, is down into 19th position, not having the race he wanted. Vladislav going and losing out that drive again, sliding it out. Suresh Jabir does look up on the inside, side by side. Suresh just going and sneaking by and gets past, taking first place of the Pro-Ams at the moment. But Vladislav now trying to go and give it a little bit of a battle. Side by side, Suresh is not going to back down from this. He's going to try and get it, but it does look like Vladislav Mikalaniko going and getting a little bit more pace underneath him, and Timothy Stanton has got a little bit of a problem as Peter Yabir goes and tries to get past him. They're all locking up, going into the corner, 2-3 wide. Very, very brave. Peter Yabir trying to claw his way back after a bit of a rough start. Now behind our Ukrainian as Suresh Jabir trying to open the distance. So Peter Yabir needs to get a little bit more run. Timothy Stanton's going to say, thank you very much. I'm going to use this a little bit of a tow. Noah Hendricks looking, and he's got Doe Huber all on the back of him. Doe trying to push as hard as he can. And definitely this is going to be keeping Paul Huber's kid awake during the evening, because Paul is going to be shouting at his screen right now, willing his brother to go on. Nico Killerman tries to late break into the corner to get past, not able to do it. Going back up to the front end of the field, though, we do have Troy Dolanchik opening up a gap, sitting at 0.5 of a second away from Yuri Swart. Second place of our pros is Yuri Swart, followed by Luke Lucchesi in third place. Bernard Skuman in fourth, along with fifth is Tamir Ovik in our Pro-Ams, and overall, Peter Yabir, sixth in our Pro-Ams, now caught in the battle, eighth place, trying to get past second of our Pro-Ams, and is doing everything he can, desperately hunting for a way to try and claw his way up back through the order. Herman Lazarus down the order, he's in seventh, along with Jan Ferree, who loses out a position to Vasil Formatz. So Vasil trying to get himself going, and Danilo Donats and Willem Buerta going and doing everything he can. Willem Buerta running in ninth position. Moving on to our Pro-Am, so Suresh Jabir leading out the charge. Vladislav Mikalaniko going and running in second place. Timothy Stanton, Noah Hendricks, Doe Huber, Nico Killerman, Zenith Basler going and riding in seventh place. Eighth is Vladislav Mikanano, along with Daniel Fernandez, who is on a bit of a climb at the moment. And then Vainan Kursop looks like he's parked it, so he's spun out, lost out a position to Basil, and Daniela trying to come back at him. So Daniela doing everything he can to fight it out. But Tyler, welcome to Commentator's Curse, because Troy Dolanchik and Yuri Swart are going side by side into turn one. And welcome to Commentator's Curse. And I think you just put a big one on Troy Dolanchik, as Yuri Swart has closed up a distance. Luke Lucchesi is also reeling the cars in. He did do a faster time this way around, so he is going to really push as hard as he can. They're fighting for first overall and first for our pros, and does look like Nico Kellerman has come off circuit. Let's try and go back to and see what happened, because he was fighting it out. Looks up on the inside of Doe Herber, tries to go a little bit late on the brakes, couldn't get it all together over the curb. Oh, bottoming that car out, not quite what he wanted it to be. And that will compromise him. Back to the racing, though. Troy Dolanchik, along with Yuri Swart, Luke Lucchesi, now right onto the back of the gearbox. Luke Lucchesi going to push Yuri Swart as much as possible. The RDSA Pantera racing machine now going after the Durant Motorsport, who is pushing fellow teammate, well, not fellow teammates, the Sujin Motorsport, which is Troy Dolanchik. So Yuri Swart going to try to go around the outside, saying, Troy, guess what, buddy? You're not going to have the drive here. Troy trying to lean on him as much as possible. Luke Lucchesi is going to try and make it 3 wide. This is a hairpin, guys. Be careful as Troy Dolanchik gets chucked onto the outside. Yuri Swart, late on the brakes, does close the gap. They are racing as hard as they can. Luke Lucchesi tries to come back at him, and you can see Dolanchik getting a little bit sideways, trying to get the drive. Yuri Swart gets it. Terrible drive that compromises it as Luke Lucchesi tries to come back at him. Both of them are fighting it out. I'm getting attacked by moths at the moment because they want to watch the racing. This is turning into a phenomenal battle, but this is our pros, ladies and gentlemen, that are slugging it out for first, second, and third place. I cannot discount that for our Pro-Ams, Swayze and Vladislav are duking it out. Peter Joubert going up on the inside of the Ukrainian does get past, does come into play as Timothy Stanton comes past. Noah Hendricks is also going to get the drive, and that has also changed up the positioning for our Pro-Am. So this is turning into a race through the order. Werner Skuman, who's lying in 4th overall, is just trying to keep his nose clean. Tamir trying to close down. He had problems hitting the brakes a little bit late. Swayze now dealing with Peter Joubert. So the two will be trying to talk to each other, and I don't think Peter Joubert is going to have too much of a problem with Swayze. He does back off the throttle. That is going to allow Mika Halenko to come back at him, and he's got Timothy Stanton right behind him. Noah Hendricks also pushing as hard as he can to try and keep up that train. And Doe Herber, don't count him out, is also starting to close up. So we've got beautiful trains, but it does look like a couple of cars falling off. Timothy Stanton, Noah Hendricks, and who was that came off just ahead? Vladislav locking up as he goes around. Swayze change for position, and Vladislav getting past. Swayze trying to get a little bit more drive, will lose out as they come across. Timothy Stanton doing whatever he can. Back up to the front though. Troy Dolanchik and Yuri Umpi-Swat don't know where to look at this point. I'm running out of breath as they fight their way through. My heavens, this is a race and a half. Wherever you look, there is a train. For some odd reason, tonight, out of all nights, despite the heat here in South Africa, the drivers have decided to bring the heat right to Virginia International Raceway for Heat 2, Round 3, and this is just proper close racing. I take my hats off. Formula 4 was the only time I have seen this type of racing so close to one another. Is going back to a series I participate in, which is Limits of Asia, when the pros go at one another, but oh my heavens. Yuri Umpi-Swat going and out braking himself, gets onto the back of Troy Dolanchik. Luke Lucchese trying to come back at him as hard as he can. And this little train getting a little bit more fierce and feisty as they're running out of time. Remember, they got 10 laps to get this going. And Mika Halenko going and getting support from Digital Autosports of Ukraine, who's currently leading out the Pro-Ams. My Tayad is going to be smiling, but the pressure is on. Don't worry, you've just got your ASN watching you at this point and a country behind you to hold your position. As Troy Dolanchik goes out wide, he has got pressure coming from the likes of Tyler Humphries. Butsev saying a big train has been forming right the way through the race. He's loving the action that's currently out there. Yuri Umpi-Swat trying to go up on the inside of Troy Dolanchik, and he's bringing Luke Lucchese through. Now, if he can push Troy Dolanchik out wide, Luke Lucchese is going to capitalize on this as they go side by side into the airpin. Who's going to break later? It does look like Yuri Umpi-Swat does stop on the apex, and Troy Dolanchik just couldn't come back. He's going to try get that little bit more drive. Luke Lucchese had to hit the brakes a little bit harder. You can see snapping the car over the curbs. Troy Dolanchik with a magnificent pass, just carrying that slight bit of momentum at the moment, moves his way up in the order, but we do have a bit of chaos happening at the back, and starts off with Timothy Stanton. So let's see what happened. That's Noah Hendricks side by side, Doe Herber and Swayze that are going and battling it out. Timothy Stanton outbreaks himself, comes into contact with Noah Hendricks. Doe with nowhere to go, Swayze nowhere to go, and that landed up with that race being put to bed. They're able to get themselves going, but how much damage to those cars is going to be it? And Mika Halenko is going to be saying, well, thank you very much, I'm going to take that and keep up the drive. Doe Herber pulling into the pits to get himself sorted. Swayze getting himself into the pits to get himself sorted. Troy Dolanchik along with Yuri Umpi-Swat right behind him. Luke Lucchese currently in third. Werner Skuman in fourth. Fifth is Tamir Ovek. Remember, he's in fifth of a pro and fifth overall. Peter Joubert up into sixth position, has made his climb back up after a very difficult race. Vladislav leading out our Pro-Ams. Noah Hendricks second place. Timothy Stanton currently in third, trying to drive. Got a bit of damage. You can see that front wing a little bit kinked up, and I do think he's got some front end suspension. He's not as heavy on the throttle. That is going to give our American Zenith Basler a chance to go for the pass. Remember, he had a rough Heat 1 and will be fighting out. Daniel Fernandez going side by side with Nico Killerman, and they are going to fight it out as the Italian trying to show some grace there. Now has Vladislav Mikino right behind him. Vladislav Mikino really pushing hard onto the back of Daniel Fernandez. Is going to chase him down. Nico Killerman losing a bit of braking, and Daniel late onto the brakes. just locking it up. Couldn't get it all hooked up. And now has Jan Free trying to get onto the back of him. So great little races happening all over the circuit with the different classes. Second place, though, as Troy Dolenchik got a little bit of breathing room. Yuri Umpiswat dealing with Luke Lucchese. Luke trying to go for the inside line. Middle of the circuit, though, for Yuri Umpiswat. Going and using an old karting move on Luke Lucchese. You're saying, fair play, but I'm going to come back at you into turn one. Later on the brakes, both of them side by side. And Yuri Umpiswat going a little bit early on the brakes, does the cutback. Luke Lucchese will be slightly frustrated on that one. They did close up. Troy Dolenchik, not so much pace into turn one, and now they are starting to catch up as they got Daniel Donitz just ahead of them. So the back mark is coming into play. 2 laps to the end. Daniel will be looking in. Daniel will be keeping an eye on the mirrors at this point. He is making his debut race out here in South Africa. Will have the likes of Troy Dolenchik going past, utilizing the slipstream. Yuri Umpiswat, though, seeing that Troy Dolenchik will do it. Oh, it's going to be up through the snake. Going to be very difficult. Daniolo doing a fantastic job to keep it all together. And Yuri Umpiswat getting himself past, and Daniolo fixing himself. Luke Lucchese dropping back. But Yuri Umpiswat now right onto the back of Troy Dolenchik as they fight their way through. And this is going to be a proper run for our drivers as they fight their way through. Knowing that there's 2 laps to go, everyone is pushing. Doug Herber dealing with Vasil Formatz at the moment. Vasil trying to go around the outside, trying to go around the inside. Couldn't get it all hooked up just as yet. And, Doug Herber going and outbraking himself. He drops off the circuit and looks like he has retired the car. And might have been facing a bit of damage on the vehicle, and going and saying, look, rather tow it back, bring it back, and get it sorted out for the final lap. But as we move on to our final lap, this is going to be it. Yuri Swart, Troy Dolenchik are going head to head on one another. White flags waved by Tim the cameraman. Some say he's part T-Rex, others say he's got DNA from a chicken. Some say they're the same thing, just different timelines. Go look it up. Actually, true fact. A chicken and a T-Rex are closer in DNA genetics. You wouldn't think the most apex predator being related to a chicken. Well, that explains for the bird flu that we've been having in South Africa. It's been very scary of late. But moving on to our racing once again. I'm rambling on. Again, chingos. Just getting caught up by the amazing action, and brain trying to process everything that's going on. New drivers, new names out on the circuit, new battles, and close battles in our Pro and Pro-Am. We have got a bit of a fight going on between Zenith going after Nico Killerman and Daniel Fernandez as they fight their way through. But out in front on the final lap, Troy Dolenchik, Yuri Umpiswat, Luke Lucchese, very close in train. They're going to take it down to the wire. Not going to be an easy time here. Luke Lucchese getting right up against the gearbox of Yuri Umpiswat. You can see Troy Dolenchik trying to snap the toe as much as possible at this moment. Yuri did do the fastest lap time on that last lap, and he is going to try and utilize every bit of pace. He's keeping the toe up the hill, will look to the inside, try to bait Troy Dolenchik to try go around the outside, but Troy will have the inside line. Yuri trying to just hook the wheel in, goes very close between himself and Troy Dolenchik. Contact between the two as they fall out. Luke Lucchese, though, gets away unscathed just, but Troy Dolenchik and Yuri Umpiswat come together, handing Luke Lucchese the win. But will Werner Skumon have enough to close up on Yuri Umpiswat? No, he drops off the circuit right at the last. Tamir Alverick doing everything he can. He has got Peter Hubert right onto the back of him, but will be taking 5th place as he comes across the line. Peter Hubert, though, finishing up in 6th place, taking 1st for our Pro-Am, and will be happy on that one. And first, and correct me if I'm right on this one, is his first ever podium out here in the F4s. Not only just here in South Africa, but in the F4s. And what a massive run. Noah Hendricks taking 2nd place. He's going to be happy with that one. Nico Killerman comes across the line. Zenith Basler just going and getting ahead of the Italian Daniel Fernandez. Johan Furey comes across the line in 12th position. Vladislav coming in 13th position. He's going to be happy with that. Mikanov followed by Herman Lazarus, Timothy Stanton, Vasil Formatz fighting it out. Has got Vaynard Kursop still fighting. Remember, these two are still in a bit of a race with one another. And it is going to be a proper little run for them. Venon Kursop tries everything he can. Couldn't get it all together. Willem Buerta will be finishing up in 18th. Swayze Jabé will be finishing up in 19th positions. Daniel Donitz going and doing a proper race. He finished up in 20th. And Doug Herber, unfortunately, having to retire the car due to too much damage so close to the end of the race. Wow. What a run. Willem Buerta hanging it out, and it's a good thing that Virginia International has got a lot of road to, well, a lot of dirt to go and throw your car off into the distance and just get a little bit of a slide for round 3. Man, what a run out there. And with that being said, let's take a look at our results. So, moving on with our pros. And we have got Luke Lucchesi, Troy Dolenchik, Yuri Swart, Werner Skuman, Tamir Alvik, Peter Joubert, Jan Ferry, Herman Lazarus, and Willem Buerta taking the final position for our pro. And moving on to our Pro-Am, Vladislav Mekano, Noah Hendricks, Nico Kellerman, Zenith Basler, Daniel Fernandez, Vladislav Mekano, Timothy Stanton, Vaz Famarts, Venon Kursop, Swayze Jabé, Doug Herber, and Daniel Donitz going and rounding out our field this evening. Wow. I'm taken away by that, to be honest. And, well, I'm out of breath. Let's chat to a driver that I'm sure will also be out of breath, as we see Venon Kursop doing a bit of donuts. He's quite happy with it. But a person that's out of breath and a little bit gutted on how the race turned out for his side. Let's chat to the organizer, Doug Herber. Doe, thank you for joining me in the commentary box. I know not quite the race that you wanted to have here at round 3. Virginia International, very difficult circuit that does challenge the drivers, does challenge no matter what car you're in, whether you got ABS, TC or anything on the circuit, it does push you to your limit. But the competition this evening, despite the little bits of hooking wheels, getting into nips and scratches, and especially, I mean, first place, Troy Dolenchik and Yuri Swart hooked wheels right at the hairpin with 4 corners to go, and that took them out, and Luke Lucchesi managed to get by right at the end. But you were in a race of your own out there where you were going 2-3 wide into corners with drivers from other sides of the world racing against you. How are you feeling? Well, I could tell you it was a good experience. I mean, Venon Kursop was still doing donuts at this very point, celebrating his little run and giving us a bit of a show. Not often you get to see a Formula 4 going in, lighting up its rear wheels, but I think it's in celebration of the racing that's been going and happening. So thank you, nickname's Wobble. So thank you, Wobble, from Swerve. But, I mean, how does it feel? Well, no, he's blowing his engine, never mind. But how does it feel with having drivers from different countries and even supporters, teams, family members, all watching in and just seeing how close the racing is, seeing how South Africa stacks up against the rest of the world and, you know, testing the skills. I mean, we've got drivers from Italy, Ukraine, America, all jumping in, UK with the Peppers that were racing in Heat 1. I mean, we've had multiple different countries in one different race. It's just mind-boggling of we managed to do that and season 2 of the F4s, which is, at one point, lots of guys were just saying, can we just not do single seaters? I think the idea has changed. I've got to say, I ran out of breath. I will not lie. I ran out of breath, and then my brain couldn't process a lot. And I talked about the how close a chicken and a T-Rex are in genetics. I mean, where that came from out of my mind full of nonsense. It's true, but at the same time, why on earth did that come out? I can't even tell you. But even just going and seeing the guys in the chat, which is absolutely incredible. I just honestly, it's quite a joy to see it out there. And now we're moving on to a different circuit, which is switching it up a little bit, as we're going to be heading to the Red Bull Ring come next week. How do you feel with that one? A different circuit. It is a paid circuit. It is a more common circuit for a lot of our drivers, and now everyone having to work it out and say, look, we've got this coming up. We have a challenge here, and Red Bull Ring is a circuit that requires speed, patience, and also bravery to get yourself into those corners quickly. What's your game plan heading into our next race? Where Perez and I forgot his name. One of the Ferraris saying, "I'm being harassed on the way up." Yeah, and I've got to say, going to be the full circuit is going to be an interesting one. It's just the same that they raced in the F4s. I think the last time that you got to race against your fellow South Africans at a Red Bull Ring was in a GT3. And if I remember correctly, your Merc didn't do too well against my McLaren right at the end. I think that's one I can count on one hand. But I got to say, absolutely incredible. Before I let you go, before we sign out, is there anything you would like to say from your part to all the drivers out there, to all the family members, spectators, and everyone going and watching this here to this evening and ahead? So, does look like, oh, bugger, we didn't catch you in your chat. So, yeah, well, do apologies for that one, Doe. That was my bad. Didn't see the virtual board on the screen. But Doe,
no problem.
Yeah, Red Bull Ring, you're excited, which is great to see. As you said, great opportunity passing moments in turn 3, turn 4. This race, though, not your best run where you landed up having slight contact. That did change up your race a little bit as well. Unfortunately, having to retire the car in Heat 2. But you have been excited of having the different countries coming aboard, having a bit of fun with us right here at Virginia International, right here at RaceFace F4 Championship Season 2. Excited to have another one. Lots of people embracing the single-seaters, as you also mentioned, that it's much easier to drive versus a F1 and the other more quicker single-seaters that are out on the iRacing service. But before I let you go, is there anything you would like to say to the spectators, to the drivers, to everyone out there? And
just to wrap it up, I guess, Stephen, thank you to all the viewers, everybody that tunes in on a weekly basis to watch us race, play cars. We do appreciate that. The support is appreciated. You guys need to understand it is a virtual race for the drivers that are racing here, and when their families are supporting them and watching them, it does mean a lot to the individual drivers. So please keep tuning in and please keep supporting them in this really cool hobby that they are engaged in. And then I think just if you haven't done it, remember, please like, subscribe, all the good stuff. And Stephen, just once again, thank you very much for your commitment to the broadcasting and commentary on these streams. We do appreciate it. Thank you.
I think the cars sound better than me, to be honest, and that's my personal thing. The action really spoke for itself this evening and told its own story. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, make sure you like and subscribe, hit that bell notification icon. Entries are still open if you feel like you want to tangle with some of the fastest around the world actually coming and doing battle. Feel free. We do have our TCRs next week as they take the first round at Red Bull Ring. Really looking forward to seeing that. Little Veloster, a little bit difficult to drive around Red Bull Ring, so a little bit of work needs to be done on that. Open setups as well does allow the drivers to tinker with how much drag they are going to have to deal with the TCRs next week, Tuesday. The week after that, we will be having our F4s taking to the Red Bull Ring. That's a fixed setup, so you kind of arrive, drive, and deal with what you got, change the brake bias, and make it all happen from there. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for joining us right here at RaceFace.Pro, and we'll see you next time. Like always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.